Andy Warhol looks a scream, hanging on my
Oh, you pretty
wall.
things.
Andy
Don't you
Warhol,
know
silver
you're driving
screen,
your
can't tell
mothers
them
and
apart
fathers
at all.
insane?
Wow, that was the most annoying, noxious opener thus far. Not only did I obnoxiously open like I do with every episode, but you had to try to steal my thunder there, guy.
I really wanted to sing "Oh You Pretty Things" because
I was just about to ask you that. I couldn't between my obnoxious voice and your obnoxious voice, I could not decipher what song you were singing. So thank you for clarifying that was the track you were singing.
and
If you were wondering, assuming that you haven't stopped listening to this episode because of that obnoxious opener, I was singing Andy Warhol and Robert was singing "Oh the Pretty Things," both tracks off this amazing record that we're going to talk about today.
Andy was singing Andy Warhol.
Pick that track.
Yeah, I believe you, guys.
believe
What's up? I'm your host, Rob, for this evening. Andy is co-hosting here. We have a nice little program for you tonight. We will be talking about David Bowie's fourth studio album,
Is there a
known
reason
as
why you're speaking like
Hunky
that?
Dory. I have no idea. You got me in a goofy mood now.
This program is brought to you by Andrew Thomas King, Robert. Wait a minute, I don't know your middle name.
And the letter A and the number 14, and
Today's
sponsored
episode
in
is brought
part
to you
by
by
viewers
the number
like you.
4 and the letter L.
What's up, guys? I'm ready to talk about Hunky Dory. I'm stoked.
Hunky Dory. I have to tell you that now that we're both in goofy moods, actually, I shouldn't say debuting, technically the last episode, debuting for the first time, Andy's drinking a Sam Adams.
Oh my god. Well, we didn't know you were drinking a Sam Adams in the last
Let me tell you
episode.
something. I usually like to rock the sound of music with either a bottle of seltzer,
Uh-huh. Good choice, by the way.
thank you, a cup of tea,
Cup of
and or
Joe?
coffee. A cup of
Yes.
Joe and or coffee.
I usually rock the caffeine because it gets me going, but
Yeah. But I decided, you know what, Andy? You had a very long week. I think let's crack open a beer.
Hey man, it's 7:42 p.m. on a Friday night. Like you said, you had a long week. Why the hell not?
So not only that, we should
talk
tell
Bowie.
you, maybe we shouldn't, I'm going to, but we are actually back-to-back recording. So we just got done recording the Man Who Sold the World episode. So while we're recording 2 episodes tonight, you're not going to hear this one for another 2 weeks.
Yep.
Mind blown. Whoa.
Whoa. Oh my god. This is like the
So-
King Crimson days.
I know. once all is said and done here, these 2 episodes will be about the equivalent to one King Crimson episode. But we just got so used to the Bowie format that recording 2 episods back to back. Needless to say, we're gonna both be a little goofy. I'm
Yeah.
always goofy when we record these podcasts, but now that we got Rob goofy too, it's just gonna be a silly episode.
Oh my god. And I haven't even been
No,
I
got
don't
quiet.
even have a Sam Adams or anything, so
Got quiet.
I've got no beer in the fridge. I think we're gonna have to rectify that tonight. So yes.
Rob,
Yes.
we're here to
Okay.
talk about Hunky Dory. Don't do that.
Please, let's talk about Hunky Dory.
I thought I lost you there for a second. I got worried because we're talking about Hunky Dory today. There was just a long pause there.
Well, I'm still here. Let's do it. Let's talk about Hunky Dory. It's time.
All right, jump into it. So, Hunky Dory, you can tell that we are both excited to talk about this one, guys. Record album, studio album number 4. Excuse me as I clear my throat. Released on December 17th, 1971 on RCA Records. This was actually the first record released on RCA, which Bowie would continue to be on for, I believe, the next decade. And I love the way that AllMusic's Stephen Thomas describes this album. So I'm quoting this guy here. Yeah, it's a Hunky Dory is like a kaleidoscopic array of pop styles tied together only by Bowie's sense of vision, a sweeping cinematic melange of high and low art, ambitious sexuality, kitsch, and class.
Nice.
Huh.
Ambiguous sexuality.
And big, what did I say?
Ambitious.
Oh, I did say ambitious. Oh, God.
Now I gotta flame you in the comments and
Ambiguous. Stop. Long day. All right, I said that already. Let's stop bitching about my long day. I can enunciate. No, no big deal.
yeah.
Maybe I should not drink beer. That's okay. Um,
Would you like me to tell you the personnel?
yes, please do.
The
Don't want
personnel
to
on
steal
this
your
album
job.
is largely the same with a few additions and one subtraction as the previous album, and we have David Bowie, the man himself, on vocals, guitar, alto, and tenor saxophone, piano on "Oh You Pretty Things," 8-line poem, and Boulez Brothers. Mick Ronson on guitar, vocals, mellotron, and arrangements. Trevor Bolder is replacing Tony Visconti as the bass player, and he plays a little trumpet. Mick Woodmansey on drums, he's back. And we have none other than the man, the maestro, and I would argue probably the second most vital contributor to this album, Rick Wakeman on piano, who is back from Space Oddity.
Yes, that's right. Mr. Rick Wakeman's back.
So speaking of him, I'd like to actually talk about him for a second.
Go for it.
So from what I understand, I've seen a couple of interviews with Rick Wakeman, and he's talked about this a lot. First of all, this man adores David Bowie. It's unsurprising because this was even before Rick Wakeman was in Yes, so he was still pretty unknown for the most part, aside from just doing a lot of session work. And Rick Wakeman said that Bowie approached him when doing this album, saying that this album would essentially be centered around his piano playing. So I thought
really,
that was
I never knew that.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to the album, and we'll get into it. We'll get into that in a minute. To quote somebody I know.
Yeah, no, I mean for sure. I mean
the piano is very, very, very prominent throughout this.
Very
album.
prominent on this record.
Yeah.
But I never knew that's that was the initial intention there. That's pretty cool.
Yep. So it was very much centered around his piano playing, and a lot of the tracks were, I mean, there's a couple of tracks that even says here, Bowie actually plays piano with Wakeman on 3 tracks, so pretty interesting. Very piano-centered album.
Yeah, so I mean, Hunky Dory in many ways is sort of a departure, but yes, at the same time, some foreshadowing with where Bowie goes within the next couple of years. Going back to that Stephen Thomas quote, there's definitely some reinvention here, and actually, that kind of really ties into the first track, which of course, is Changes. That song literally talks about artistic reinvention.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're getting right into it with that segue. So yeah, here we go.
Good segue.
Side 1, track 1. Unless if you have anything you want to add.
No, go ahead.
Changes. Let's talk about it.
Changes. Well, I mean, what can you not? I mean, this is a classic song. I mean,
Yeah,
was one of the first Bowie songs that I think I ever got into and ever heard. Really, I think it probably I don't know exactly what it is. It was probably Space Oddity, and then this song were probably I mean, this is one of his biggest hits, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is one of those songs that is so overplayed that does not bother me.
No, I agree. Yeah,
as to how overplayed it is.
Yeah.
This song still, every time I hear it, whether it's in the context of listening to Hunky Dory or comes on Spotify, the radio, I just blast it every time. Sing along. This is just a great tune.
Was this one of his first hits in the U.S.?
That's a good question. I actually have that pulled up. No, actually.
Really?
December 1971, it was released January 7th and 72 as a single, the day before Bowie's 25th birthday, despite missing the top 40 of the Billboard Hot 100,
Mm-hmm.
Changes became one of Bowie's best known songs. So,
Mm-hmm.
no, this actually was not a hit,
Interesting. I don't
at the
know
time at
how.
least.
I don't
Yeah.
know how. Uh,
Um, yeah, okay. Fun fact there. But let's talk about Changes.
yeah, I mean, as far as the song goes, I really, I mean, you think because it changes, it's one of the songs that I could go on and on about. I probably could, but I mean, it's first of all, I don't know how many people don't know this song. It's so famous. Um, I mean, what is there to say? Like the piano is fantastic. The lyrics are fantastic. It was interesting you said that it's kind of about stylistically changing, I guess,
Hmm.
or like about how I like the way you kind of intermingled this idea of him changing, kind of reinventing himself, and kind of marrying that with the idea of the lyrics of changes. I always kind of took it as sort of like a reflection of the times it was written, because you're talking like 71, early 70s.
Yeah.
You're still coming off of that kind of 60s revolution period. So I always thought of it was kind of this idea of like young people embracing changes, and and kind of criticizing, with even lyrics like, and these children that you spit on as they try to change their worlds are immune to your consultations. It seems to me this idea of, of young people embracing change and older people kind of criticizing them over it and judging them over it. That was always the kind of idea I had whenever I heard the
Yeah,
lyrics.
and I'm reading over the lyrics too, and
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely um that's definitely how I would interpret it as well. And it just made me think, and
Yeah.
now I have to look it up. That's a theme that Bowie visits later on, a similar theme in Teenage Wildlife off of Scary Monsters. It's kind of the same thing. I'm
Mm-hmm.
drawing a
Mm-hmm.
blank on the lyric at the moment, but it's kind of like that same idea, kind of like, taking a jab at, like, that generation.
Yeah.
Um,
All I have to say to you, Dave Bowie, is okay, boomer. No, I'm just kidding. I have to
it's
reference that
okay,
song.
boomer. I one of the things that stands out with this song for me, I talked about in the last episode that on, like this record and you know Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust, Let It Sane, Bowie utilizes Mick Ronson to his core, and
Yeah.
a lot of people associate Mick Ronson as a guitar player, and rightfully so. He's one of my favorite guitar players. But the guy was really a multi instrumentalist, and I,
Mm-hmm.
the contrast of Rick Wakeman's piano and Mick Ronson's string arrangements on this song
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
just totally stands out. On top of course, Bowie's vocals and the
Yep.
saxophone that's there too. There's just so much little, instrumental idiosyncrasies that are going on, and like that's what makes a great pop song. Is I love dissecting a song like this catchy song, but there's just so much of this undertone going on in the song too, that like your average person just wouldn't really, you know, not to come off pretentious or anything, but your average person wouldn't really take the time to just really listen in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Um,
my little thought there.
I have a question. I don't know if you know the answer to this. What's with the stuttering chorus? It reminds me of like there's two songs that always come to mind with that. There's the Who, My Generation, and Bachman Turner Overdrive. You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. Like, what's with
Oh
the
yeah,
stuttering chorus? Like, I always wondered that with this song. I wonder why he chose to do that.
change it. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good question. I mean, Bowie, of course, was a huge, Who fan.
yeah. Maybe it was
So I
just
don't
simply.
know if that was something intentional on his part or just a pure coincidence. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's an interesting point. I don't have an answer to that, to be
Yeah,
honest with
I was just trying to see now. It didn't really say anything about the stuttering chorus. I'd be curious why he chose to do that. You
you.
know,
Yeah, definitely. Huh.
um, I maybe it's because I guess if you think about it now I'm getting deep now.
Yeah, indeed.
Because if you think about like the lyrical themes, because I don't think the BTO song came out until after this. I think that was like 73 or 74, so that would have been a couple years after. But
Hmm.
the Who, the My Generation, the lyrics of My Generation are very similar in theme as the Changes. People try to put us down talking about My Generation, So maybe just the song itself, My Generation, was partly inspired this song. Both, in terms of the themes of the lyrics and just the chorus. I don't know. But yeah, I've always wondered that. Like, why did he choose to do the stuttering thing? I like it.
I was gonna say I like it too. It somehow works, and so I guess in that aspect, who cares, right?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, but I've always just wondered it. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, that's
cool.
that's not something I've always been conscious about the stuttering, but not something I also really like thought about at the same time.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
was just thinking about it.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough. Now you got me thinking about it. But all right. I think we should move on to track 2 though.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That's the show. But I do want to move on to track 2 though.
Sure.
This is another one of my favorite tracks. You pretty things.
Oh, you
pretty things. You pretty things. All right, enough of that.
This song is just great.
It's similar to Changes in that aspect, that it's just a really great, catchy song that just has a lot going on underneath on the instrumental side.
I really love the build up to the chorus too, like some of the lines in there. It's like where he talks about I made you breakfast and coffee, and the piano in there. It's so good. I love the build up, and then it just kind of like picks up and becomes kind of a I don't know, tempo goes up, gets a little bit.
Yeah. Look out my window. What do I see? A crack in the sky. Yeah. All right,
it's so good.
I was just reading on Wikipedia that the piano style has been compared to Martha My Dear by the Beatles, which I never, made that comparison before. I think that's interesting, but definitely some similarities there.
I mean, I gotta say, as a huge fan of Yes, and I mean, I don't love everything Yes has done, but and knowing how complex and how just how crazy Yes's music can be, and how musically impressive it is, and just some of the stuff Rick Wakeman did in Yes, I mean, incredible stuff. Close to the Edge, Fragile, a lot of stuff on Fragile, whatever. That aside, this is some of his best playing, I really think. Like, even with all of putting that into account, I think he really, really shines on this album.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it's easy to, think of like, a band like Yes and just how sophisticated they were. And obviously, like, the stuff he did in Yes is groundbreaking. But,
of course.
with
Roundabout, God,
Right. But with that being said, I would make the argument, too, that as what I'm sure, a musician like Rick Wakeman, that, in some ways, certain styles of pop music can be more difficult to play.
Oh, yeah.
Than, say, some like out there noodly stuff that, I'm not saying Yes is necessarily a noodling band. But, I would make that argument that in some cases, pop music can be more difficult to play. I absolutely agree that. I think, also being a huge Yes fan myself, that some of Rick Wakeman's best playing is on this record for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah. And he's done all kinds of, I think it's a testament to how good of a piano player he is, because he's done stuff with Cat Stevens. He's done stuff with Black Sabbath. He's done all kinds of stuff.
Black Sabbath record did he play on?
Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yep. I knew that.
Yeah, so I think it's a big testament to the kind of player he is, that he is able to seamlessly, the guy could play anything. Just about any genre that I think he could do well. So I think the fact that he plays on one of Bowie's biggest albums and some of his most famous songs, I think it's I think it says a lot about him, you know.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to track three, which there's really not much to say about this next one.
I
Uh,
agree.
8-line poem. Really, I this is just kind of an interlude between "Oh, You Pretty Things" to "Life on Mars."
Hmm.
I've always,
I wrote that it's a pretty good song, and I like the piano and the guitar.
yeah,
That's pretty much
I've
all I
always
really.
liked it. It's a cool little guitar lick from Mick Ronson, of course.
Hmm.
It's nothing special by any means, but
Nah.
it's not something I skip over at the same time.
No, it transitions well from "Oh You Pretty Things" to the next song. I think.
Totally. Um, and speaking of transition, let's talk about track four. Life on Mars.
Hmm.
Hate this song. No, I don't hate this song. No, this is yeah, Stone Cold classic, man. I mean, just getting off of talking about Rick Wakeman's piano playing,
Hmm.
the piano in this song alone is super iconic.
Hmm.
I'm actually, and normally, I would tell Pitchfork to go fuck themselves, but I'm reading, I'm reading the Wikipedia page on Life on Mars, and uh, Pitchfork apparently named Life on Mars as the best song of the 1970s. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm content with that.
Yeah, I could I don't know if I would say that myself, but I'm totally fine with that being absolutely. It's at least in the top 10. It's a fantastic song.
Hmm.
This is one of my favorite Bowie songs ever. This is a song that I will always go back to. Um, this is just and the strings, like I love at the end that how the strings kind of sort of like build up and then oh I love the
Yeah,
ending of
and
this song.
again,
Oh man.
just like with changes, the interplay with with Mick Ronson's strings and
Oh
Rick Wakeman's
man.
piano. Oh my
So freaking
God!
good.
And
By the
it
way, there is I don't know if I told you about this, but shortly after Bowie passed, there's a video of it. I can send it to you maybe after this.
mhm.
There's a video Rick Wakeman did where he did just a piano tribute to Bowie, and he played the
I've
song.
seen that. Yep,
And it's just
Life on
him on
Mars.
piano, and he plays both the piano part of the song and Bowie's like vocal melody on it. It's fantastic.
Yep, I've
It's
seen that.
really
Oh,
good.
it's brilliant. Yeah.
It's beautiful. But yeah, I mean, God, the piano is great. The strings are phenomenal. Bowie's vocals are just I absolutely love his vocals on this track, and the lyrics are interesting. I always thought the lyrics were kind of weird and sort of abstract,
They're
but the
very
more I
sci-fi. Again, going back to
yeah,
like Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick.
I kind of have, but here's the thing with it though. The more I think about it, I assume it's supposed to be about some kind of about a writer who's trying to write a movie, and he you know some what's the one line where it's like uh because I wrote it 10 times or more, it's about to be writ again,
I'll pull
and
up the
then I
lyrics.
ask her to focus on sailors fighting in the, like I feel like it's just supposed to be some kind of weird movie that the person in the song is writing. I don't know. But again, it has these like kind of sci-fi themes to it, so I don't
For
know. It's
sure, yeah.
very strange lyrics, but I really love them. They're very thought-provoking.
As I'm pulling this up, my favorite line in this song. It's right after the first chorus. It's on
Hmm.
America's tortured brow. Mickey
Yeah,
Mouse has
Mickey
grown up
Mouse
a
is grown
cow.
up.
Now the
Yeah.
workers have struck for fame because Lennon's on sale again. That's always been my favorite
Yeah, I
line in
love that.
this
I love
song.
that part too.
Yeah. Um, there's actually there's an interesting there's a little bit of backstory to this song. I don't know if you're
Hmm.
familiar with it or not, but originally a few years back, like in the 60s, Bowie was approached to um, write this French song for Frank Sinatra,
Hmm.
but it got turned down, and this French artist who I just pulled it up, Paul Anka, um,
Hmm.
bought the rights to it and rewrote it into the song "My Way," which is, one of the most well-known Frank Sinatra songs.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so like so Bowie wrote Life on Mars a couple years later, and that was kind of like his fuck you to to that, because Anka's version ended up becoming like the best well-known Frank Sinatra song, and Bowie almost had the opportunity to write a song for Frank Sinatra, but then joke was on that person because it became Life on Mars.
Yeah, no
And it
kidding.
was
Yeah.
it kind of like originally was intended to be a parody of My Way. And no disrespect to Sinatra, because Sinatra's great, but Life on Mars is the better song.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So
Life
Bowie
on
won in
Mars
the
is a
end, as
better
far as
song.
I'm concerned.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, timeless classic. Absolutely love the song.
yeah. I'm there's the It's weird because the music video that came out a couple years later, um, that was recorded just shortly after Ziggy Stardust came out.
Hmm.
It must be like they must have re-recorded it as well for the music video, and
Hmm.
I hate it. I hate that version of it. I don't know if you're familiar with the Life on Mars music video, but
Hmm.
it's a different, like it's re-recorded or something. Like the vocal melody is different, and I just
Hmm.
don't like it. The album version is so much better. I don't know what their intent was with that when they recorded the video, but just a little
It
side
seems like
tangent
nine out
there.
of ten, 9 times out of 10, a song like that, the album version's always better.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I've never heard it, so I will make sure I do not.
Yeah, I feel like you have heard it. It just might have been a long time ago, but
Could have been, yeah, it's possible.
this is just one of those songs for me that I could just check everything off. Like it's obviously, like, across the board, it's a great song. Vocals are
Hmm.
great. The arrangement is great. And I always have mixed
Hmm.
feelings when it comes to like orchestral arrangements, but it's
Yep.
used perfectly here. The
Hmm.
arrangement is great. The production is great. It doesn't sound.
Lyrics.
The lyrics are A plus. And it sounds like something that could be released today. And that's
Oh yeah.
that's what I love about the majority of Bowie's music, is that it it's of the time, but at the same time doesn't sound dated. This is something that could be released in 2019.
Well, I suppose it could be, yeah, but there's nothing nearly as good in 2019 as this
Well,
song.
yeah, no, that's a different conversation, of course. But just, like, you know what I mean, in terms of
Yeah,
just
no, I know what you're
the
saying.
sound of the song, that it just I don't know. It just and that's a true testament to me, at least.
This was another one of those songs um, when I first heard it. It was one of those instant, like, this song is just amazing.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And this is one of those songs when I put on Bowie. Like, if I'm in a Bowie mood, this song will be played at least at
Mhm.
least once a day or something. It's just so good. Uh,
But yeah, I think we both kind of summed it up. There's really
yeah.
nothing more to add to it. So let's move on to track five, which is Kooks.
Yep.
Couple of Kooks. I've always loved this song. Um,
This song was a grower for me, but back in the day it was a grower because when I first heard this full album, I was like, I don't know about this song. It's a little silly, but over the years, yeah, it's grown on me as well. It's definitely become one of my favorite songs.
yeah, I think this is one that a lot of Bowie fans kind of like. It's not one that's like really hated per se, but it's always been one that people poke fun at a little bit. But I've always loved this song. The
It's a
song's
bit
actually
silly,
was written
but
for like about his son Duncan Jones.
hmm.
Um, and I don't know. There's just this one just always puts a smile on my face every time I hear it. I want to pull
It's
up the
it
lyrics
gives me
again.
a bit of a Neil Young vibe.
It's funny that you should say that, because once again, pulling up the Wikipedia article, this song was influenced by Neil Young. I guess in 1970, Bowie was listening to a Neil Young record. I guess one would have to assume after the Gold Rush,
Uh,
maybe.
yeah, I was gonna say must have been after the Gold Rush because it makes me think of some stuff. I'm gonna look up and see when after the Gold
Bowie
Rush
was
was
listening to a
released.
Neil Young record at home um, on May 30th, 1971, when he got the news of the arrival of his son.
It couldn't have been. After the Gold Rush then. Well, After the Gold Rush was released in September of 1970. So actually, wait, when was he listening to it?
Well, it could have been released as a single though.
Oh, true. Wait,
Like
when did it
what
say he was
singles were on
listening?
that record?
What singles were on this record? Let's see. I think probably After the Gold Rush. Oh, Only
Right.
Love Can Break Your Heart in
Ah, that's
1970.
right.
And When You Dance, I Can Really Love,
Okay.
1971. Oh, that's a great album. Holy crap.
It's a
After the Gold Rush. Anyway, I
fantastic
don't want
album.
to divert. But
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to add about this song. It's always been one I've enjoyed. I think it's a very sentimental song, of course. There's a little bit of humor in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just a great track. I'm just
Yeah, and I
gonna
like
go.
the piano,
I'm just gonna.
as is pretty much. I'll probably say that this whole album, but yeah, I like the piano in it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
I
go on
love.
and say that like side one of this record it's perfect. It is perfect. Uh,
I wouldn't say it's perfect. I don't think it needs 8-line poem personally. I don't hate 8-line
It doesn't
poem,
need 8 line poem, but
but it doesn't.
it
Yeah.
doesn't tamper with it at the same time. It doesn't take away the mood or anything
Hmm.
like like it's there, but it doesn't
Yeah.
bother me that it's there. Whereas often there are like a lot of transitional instrumental pieces, whatever you want to call them, that I'm just like, why is this here? Something I'll
Yeah, we've
talk
talked
about.
about that. We talked about that in the King Crimson
Yeah, that's
episodes
right,
a
within the
bit.
Wake of Poseidon, and that's something that
Yeah.
will kind of bother me again when we get to Outside.
Hmm.
But for here, 8 line poem doesn't take it away as far as
True.
the flow of this record, for me at least.
Hmm.
Side one is just perfect, and to what a way to close side one. And
Hmm.
that's track 6, of course, which is my favorite song on the record. One of my
Hmm.
favorite Bowie songs. This has always been one of my favorite David Bowie songs. Quicksand.
Yeah, this was a really, really great song.
I,
I
I
absolutely agree.
This song to me is like a culmination of the first 5 tracks.
Hmm.
I love the build up at the end with the instruments, with the string
Yes.
arrangement, and oh, it's so good. Lyrically, I think this might be Bowie's best song.
I said this is what I wrote. I wrote the nice acoustic guitar and piano. The string accompaniment is fantastic, and the line "knowledge comes with death's release" really
I
sticks
love
with
it. I
me.
love it.
That line is really, really cool.
Yup. I,
So yeah, I agree.
Again,
The lyrics are great in
lyrically,
Quicksand.
it's up there with like Heroes. Like it's one
Hmm.
of his best lyric, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's very, very, very good. I actually this was another one that was kind of, I don't want to say a grower because I liked this one when I first was listening to the album, but as I've listened to the album more, it's one of those kind of deeper tracks that I think I can appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, I just again the instrumentation on this album. I mean, with just the acoustic guitars and the the string arrangement once again by the great Mick Ronson. Um,
Hmm.
this song, like Life on Mars, just has all the check marks for me.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
it's one of my top 10 favorite David Bowie songs. I'll just say it now.
Wow,
Um,
wow, nice,
I love
nice.
this song. Bowie's on point with the vocals. Um, it's dark. It's metaphorical. It's just I can do a whole podcast just on this song. I really can. I'm
Well,
look
I think the only difference is that you like the song way more than I do, but I could see why. It's a great track.
Yeah. If you had told me you didn't like this song, I would have stopped doing this podcast with you.
Yeah. By the way, this song sucked. Just kidding.
Fuck you. Um, I'm on Wikipedia, and I'm reading apparently, and I can't stand Marilyn Manson, but we share an opinion, so that's something, I guess.
Hmm.
Apparently, Marilyn Manson I know is a big Bowie fan.
Hmm.
That's been on record. Marilyn Manson
Makes
has,
sense.
yeah, Marilyn Manson has stated that Quicksand and Ashes to Ashes are his favorite songs, his
Wow.
favorite David Bowie songs. Which I mean,
Uh,
I just said Quicksand's in my top 10, and Ashes to Ashes would probably be my top 10, if not top 15. So there you go.
Wow, nice, nice. I'm not surprised. All those shock rocker guys, even as far back as Alice Cooper, are huge Bowie fans. It's
Sure.
not really surprising.
No,
He
definitely a
was
lot.
another one of those pioneers of
In some ways, Bowie was kind of like the OG of that
it.
to a degree.
It's between like it's honestly between him, Alice Cooper, Arthur Brown, and
I was gonna say you could go
if you
back
really want to
further with
talk
like a.
about
Go ahead.
if you really want to talk about the first guy to really do it, it's Screamin' Jay Hawkins.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say
Yeah.
if you want to go further back, you could say Arthur Brown. But yeah, the first guy would be Stephen. Uh,
Screaming Jay
Thank
Hawkins,
you,
yeah.
Screaming.
Yeah. It was
I
like
told
Screaming
you
Jay, Arthur Brown, and then like Bowie and Alice Cooper came out around the same time. But those guys really pioneered
I
that
told
whole
you
shock rock thing.
that before we recorded the Man Who Sold the World episode that I predicted that for that one I was going to be goofy, and for the Hunky Dory episode I was going to be derpy like I was for Space Oddity, and the derpiness is starting to kick in.
Well, hey, we're already on side two, so let's get going.
All right, let's get going. So, um, again, I can't emphasize enough that I think side one is pretty much perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And while side one is definitely the better of the two, I still think side two is underrated and needs some love. With that
Mm-hmm.
being said, I hate Fill Your Heart. I hate this song. Hate it. I've always hated it. I've hated it more the past couple of days I've been listening to this record again. I hate the song.
I I really this was probably my least favorite on here as well. I wrote that the song is kind of goofy. I like some of the instrumentations, particularly the sax, but they don't really save the song in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
don't get me wrong. I love when, you know, Bowie gets goofy, but I don't know. I've just this song has never
it
done
doesn't work in the way
free. Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
like what we were
yeah.
like what we were just talking about. Kooks is a little goofy, but it works.
But it
You know.
works. Yeah, the
Yeah,
difference is
but
it
this
works for
doesn't.
that
Yeah, I
song.
agree.
And
It's not.
another
I don't think it's a terrible song. I don't hate it, but I just wasn't. It doesn't really do anything for me.
and I'm not going to get into it yet, but another reason why I hate this song is because a bonus track that we'll talk about in a little bit was supposed to be that was supposed to be on this record was replaced with "Fill Your Heart," and I'm
Oh, okay.
just just blown away that it was replaced with this song. But yeah, that's I don't really have anything more to add to this song other than I don't like this song. I never
Okay, fair enough. Let's move
have.
on then.
So let's move on. I so these next three songs I've
Hmm.
always kind of referred to as the influence suite. Um, of course, Andy Warhol being about Andy Warhol, Song for Bob Dylan being about Bob Dylan, and then Queen Bitch just intentionally being heavily influenced by the Velvet Underground.
Hmm.
So let's talk about Andy Warhol first. Andy Warhol is a song that I don't mind overall. It's always a song I've enjoyed. We get a little bit of that annoying high pitched Bowie vocal that I talked about in the last episode with Black Country
Hmm.
Rock and every track off the first record. Um, but all in all, it's a pretty good song. It's always I always thought of it as like a like an acoustic rocker type of thing.
You kind of summed. I think we're pretty much on the same page with this record so far. I think it's a decent song. It's like if this song, I don't love it. I don't know. I think it's. I'd give it like a 6 out of 10 if I were to give it something. I think what I really like about the song is the acoustic guitar playing,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a really nice acoustic solo that Mick Ronson does. That's really good. It's a pretty decent track. I hope this one becomes more of a grower. It hasn't over the several years that I've well, and by several I mean many years that I've been listening to this album. Um, but yeah, it doesn't stand out to me. I don't know. It's like maybe slightly above average for me. But I think where I might disagree with you on this, where I will agree with you, actually, I'll say is that side one is definitely the superior side of this album. side 2 kind of is where it really, for me, there's definitely some gems on here, but I'm not really a big fan of side 2 nearly as much as the first.
Side 2, I really can't emphasize enough as a grower. It really is.
Yeah.
Because for the longest
Yeah.
time, I would have agreed with you. But give it time. Like side 1 is by far the superior side. But I think while Fill Your Heart sucks and Andy Warhol is just I think the last 3 tracks are solid.
Yeah.
And speaking of, let's talk about them.
Okay.
Song
for Bob Dylan.
Song for Bob Dylan, which, of course, is a tribute to Bob Dylan, which is also referencing Bob Dylan's Song to Woody, which, of course, is paying tribute to Woody Guthrie. So that's, coming full circle there, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's similar to Andy Warhol in the sense that, of course, it's another, tribute song, similar arrangement. Just of the two, I've always enjoyed this one more. Great guitar solo by Mick Ronson in the second half of this song.
That I will agree with you with the guitar solo, but I think I actually do prefer Andy Warhol over this one. It just sounds a bit too derivative of Bob Dylan, and like I'm okay with that in a sense because I know everybody's influenced by Bob Dylan, but it's just kind of unremarkable. I don't dislike the song, but it's kind of again in that, like, if I were to give Andy Warhol like a 6 out of 10, I'd give Song for Bob Dylan maybe like a 5 out of 10.
Oh wow. Wow.
I think I gotta hear it a little bit more too.
Fair enough.
Not that I've heard this album like tons and tons of times, but it's always been the first half of the side of the album that's really stuck out, and it's unfortunate that the second side kind of drags a little bit.
Yeah, I think the obviously the Dylan-esque thing to me is intentional, and I totally get the the whole like of the time that like everyone was trying to pay some type of like tribute and even like tap into Dylan a little bit. So I get that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just not disagreeing with anything you're saying about it. I guess it's never bothered me, I suppose.
It's just a slight difference,
Yeah, but, for sure.
It's still a good song. Like, absolutely. I mean, I am a Dylan fan. I like Dylan a lot. But yeah.
Interesting side note, I forgot to mention with Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol did not like that song.
He did not like that
song? He
did
not like it, which is funny because, I mean, Bowie, of course, was a huge Andy Warhol fan. Andy Warhol not only did not like that song, but there was a movie released in the 90s. I forget what it's called. Might have even been called Andy, I don't remember. But Bowie plays Andy Warhol.
Oh, he plays Andy Warhol?
He plays Andy Warhol, yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but yeah, I just meant to mention that before. I will say of the 3, as I like to call them, the 3 influence suite songs, Queen Bitch without a doubt is my favorite of the 3.
Same. To me, it's the highlight of the second half of the album.
Ooh, see, now that's where I disagree. But we'll get there in a second.
One of my favorite songs on the album too. I really like Queen Bitch.
Queen Bitch is great, and of course it's heavily influenced by Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground. And the Velvet Underground are one of my favorite bands. And Bowie was a huge Velvet Underground fan. I mean, I read an interview with him a while ago where he got to, like, he was one of the first people that got to hear the acetate tapes of the Velvet Underground and Nico. So before it was even the album that we know, he got to hear the acetate tapes, which are now available today to the general public. But he was a hardcore Lou Reed Velvet Underground fan, and I think out of the 3 tracks on side 2, this is the one where he pays, I think, the most respectful tribute out of the 3, while not tapping too much into sounding like that artist. Like it's clearly Velvet Underground and Lou Reed influence, but it also to me stands out as just another David Bowie song.
Yeah, it's a great song. By the way, do you think Bowie was a big fan of Lulu?
I'm sorry?
I was just making a joke. I said, because he's such a big Lou Reed fan. Do you think he was a fan of Lulu?
No, he was actually. When a couple years after Lou Reed passed away, when he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, um, Laurie Anderson, who was Lou Reed's wife, when she accepted the award or whatever, I guess said that Bowie had said to her shortly after Lou Reed passed away that, like Lulu was his, like his, his masterpiece, and that, people will understand it someday, that type of thing. And I'll tell you that
What?
I don't think Lulu's a bad record. I would argue to a degree it's also a little misunderstood. It's not, something I listen to, but the closing track off that record, Junior Dad, is a beautiful track. It's like 20 minutes long. It's a great song. I do think it's a little misunderstood, and I do agree with Bowie to an extent that I can't help but wonder if over time an appreciation will grow for that record. But this isn't a Lulu episode.
Well, I was making a joke. I did not expect there to be an answer.
No. But hey, when it comes to Bowie, you're gonna get a fucking answer.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. Long story short, sorry for the sidetrack.
No,
I think Queen
you're good.
Bitch is a great song. Great song.
You know what? You're a queen bitch.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
And so what? You gonna judge me?
I am. Yeah. All right, let's
last track, final track.
Last track, closing track. The Ballet Brothers. This is my favorite song off side 2. I think this is a great way to close the record. And this is another dark track. I want to pull up these lyrics actually, but while I'm doing that, what are your thoughts on this one?
So I thought the song was pretty good. I hate the outro.
I agree. I do agree.
I really hate the outro, and that's what kind of ruins this song for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree that almost like chipmunk-like vocals. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, man.
And that could just be edited out, then the song's perfect. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, otherwise I thought it was a pretty decent song, I mean, some pretty cool lyrics. And just, again, the instrumentation is really good, but yeah, it's just that outro, man. Ugh.
And so the story goes, they wore the clothes, they said the things to make it seem improbable, the wail of a lie, like they hope it was, and the good men of tomorrow had their feet in the wallow and their heads of brawn were nicer shorn. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Deep stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to add to this one, other than I do agree with you. I can't stand the outro either, but I would say all in all, it's definitely my favorite song of side 2 for sure.
I would say all in all, it's just another brick in the wall.
All in all, it's just another brick in the wall.
That always comes up. I'm sorry.
I was just reading on Wikipedia that somebody compared the coda to this to the Laughing Gnome, which I don't want to agree with that, but unfortunately I have to.
Yeah. So, as I said to you in the last episode to stir up some controversy, I think the second half of this album is why I said that while I do like Hunky Dory more, Hunky Dory really is one of my favorite Bowie albums. I think when I was saying about The Man Who Sold the World, I think as a cohesive album, it's a bit better in terms of just from beginning to end. I feel like the album is a bit more solid. But the problem is that, well, not really the problem, but the thing is with this song is the highs are so high that it's like, how could I not put this album above it,
Yeah, I mean, there's no...
And I don't think there's any song on here that's really terrible, I like just about every song, and I think a couple of these could potentially be growers for me. So.
Yeah, I can't emphasize that enough. I really think side two will grow on you. There's no denying that, and I'm going to disinclude 8 Line Poem, even though, again, I said, like, it doesn't bother me that it's here and I wouldn't,
Yeah.
take it out. But, like, the 5 actual songs on side one are just undeniable David Bowie classics.
Yes, I agree, and Queen Bitch is one as well. I would agree,
Mm-hmm.
and I like some stuff about Andy Warhol, and even what is it, Boulay
I've always
Brothers,
pronounced
and
it Ballet Brothers, but I don't know if I'm saying it right.
anyway, well the other two I think are pretty decent songs too. So it's not a knock on the album as a whole, but yeah, I think just Man Who Sold the World, I think track by track, I liked each track a lot. So, except for maybe that last track. So I think, again, as a cohesive album, Man Who Sold the World, but as far as like the album itself, I gotta give it to Hunky Dory over that. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, how can you not? And
I can't, yeah.
I'll just go on record and already say that. I mean, Hunky Dory is uh, it's in my top 5 for Bowie albums. It always has been. I've always been drawn to this record.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fucking fantastic record. Bottom line.
I know.
I guess we did this in the last episode too. We kind of really got into our final thoughts already.
Oh, I guess we did, yeah.
So yeah, so I do want to talk about the bonus track that I was referencing before, and then let's do our top 3.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've heard this song, but there was a track recorded that was supposed to be on this album called Bombers.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this song. It's Bowie's protest song. But it's just a fun one to listen to. The vocals are great. It it, it just should have been on Hunky Dory. It was actually supposed to be the song that opens up side two. So it was supposed to be where
Mm-hmm.
Fill Your Heart is. And it actually, if you listen to it, it goes into the crosstalk that appears in Andy Warhol. So like this song was meant to be on the record. It was meant to be the first track on side two, and it was supposed to go right into Andy Warhol. And I don't know what the reason was for taking Bombers out and replacing with Fill Your Heart, but
Mm-hmm.
I think just having this one song on side two would beef up side two more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But check it out if you haven't. There's
I'm going to check it out. I haven't heard it.
so when you do there's a live version that's on Spotify and it's pretty good. It's a John Peel session. But there is
I'll see if I can find it on YouTube.
but there is there is a studio version that is on YouTube, and that's the one to check out. It was originally included as a bonus track on the 1990
I wish
issue.
they had these bonus tracks on Spotify.
I
Like, come on,
know.
Spotify.
It's included on the 1990 issue of Hunky Dory, but yeah, it's not on Spotify for whatever reason.
So would Andy's definitive version of this of Hunky Dory be to just put Bombers in where it should have been and take Fill Your Heart out?
Bottom line, yeah, I wouldn't change
Boom.
the order of anything else. Just take Fill Your Heart out and put Bombers in.
Boom.
Yeah.
Get it? Because Bombers.
Bombers. And then I had mentioned in the last episode that there was a re-recorded version of the Superman that was on
Mm-hmm.
Ziggy Stardust. It's actually included, so it's on the deluxe edition of Ziggy Stardust, but it was also included on the bonus edition of the 1990 edition of Hunky Dory. So, as stated in that episode, I do want to check out this version because that was a song that wasn't one of my favorites on The Man Who Sold the World. But other than that, just demos and alternate versions of other songs. There's a demo version of Quicksand, which I'll have to check that out. I don't think I've heard that. And an alternate mix of the Bellway Brothers that I'll also check out, which I'm wondering if maybe that version does not include the outro.
Hey, there you go. Then that could be the definitive.
There you go. It is 3 seconds less, so maybe.
Maybe.
No, that outro is definitely longer than 3 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So let's do our top 3.
My top 3, I think. Oh man, I'd have to go Life on Mars, Oh You Pretty Things, I'm gonna give it to Quicksand. I was tempted to put Queen Bitch in there, but you know what? You hyped me up on Quicksand so much that I threw it on there.
Fucking love Quicksand. Well, I think it's very obvious that Quicksand is my number one. My number two would be Life on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, honestly, it's a close one. I think I have to go with. Oh man, this is hard actually. So, if it weren't for that fucking outro,
You do.
the Ballet Brothers
Ballet
would
Brothers.
be my number three. But because of that, it gets knocked down a couple notches. It would, man, it would either be Changes or Oh You Pretty Things.
Well,
I'll have
if
to
you
go.
pick
I'm gonna
Oh You
honestly,
Pretty-
I'm gonna go with Changes.
Good. Okay, cool. Now we're not exactly the same.
Yeah, yeah. But for
Changes would be right there for me too. But I think Changes for me, it has been played a lot, and I think "Oh You Pretty Things" deserves some recognition because it's a great song.
definitely, that's
Really great.
yeah. You can't go wrong with either one, honestly.
And to me, that song is the catchiest song on the album. "Oh You Pretty Things." I always get that song in my head.
Yeah, I mean, either that or Changes for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, yeah. But yeah, I mean, unless if there's anything else we got to add, I think we just about covered Hunky Dory.
Oh my God, man! Are you telling me that the next episode is gonna be Ziggy Stardust?
It's gonna be the rise
Oh
and
my God.
fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars.
Wow, that's crazy that we've gotten this far already. Whew. And so, I'll give you guys a little preview of next time. Ziggy Stardust was the first album that I think we discussed this when we were in the possibly like the first episode, because I think we talked about our Bowie experiences. We had to make the first episode somewhat interesting, right? Talking about the debut. But the point is that so when we first, well, to be fair, I'd already been kind of a Bowie fan. I'm not holding that because it seems like you've kind of surpassed me in terms of at least knowledge of Bowie stuff, and I think you've probably heard more of his career than I have at this point. Although I've been the fan longer.
Yeah.
But, I recall Ziggy Stardust. I remember you getting Ziggy Stardust and that being the Bowie album where you were just like, wow, this is.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm pretty sure that you were with me when I bought Ziggy Stardust.
I think so.
Back in the high school days when we would go to Rockaway Mall to FYE to buy our CDs.
Yeah, I don't know if we discussed it and I recommended it, or if it was just one of those albums that you just wanted to get yourself. But I remember us talking about it.
I would say that
really loved it.
That's accurate, because I would credit you as the person that got me into David Bowie. And yeah, the fandom has just gotten out of control on my end.
Yeah, I mean, I like to be fair, I really haven't dug super deep into his stuff before, so there's some of the stuff that's like essentially new to me. Like, while I've heard the debut album before, and I've heard Man Who Sold the World and stuff, like I'm pretty familiar with Hunky Dory and Space Oddity, but like definitely the debut and definitely the Man Who Sold the World is the first time I've really deep dived those albums. So I'm really looking forward to when we get to the back end of the Berlin trilogy, when we get to an album like Lodger that I've never heard before, when we get really post Let's Dance. I really don't know very much of that stuff at all.
I can't wait.
Aside from like Heathen and some of Reality, I really don't know much of any of it. So,
and I can't wait to get into all of that. I mean, I can't wait to talk about Lodger. I can't wait to get into some of the '90s stuff. And then the last 4 records I can't wait to get into. It's we're gonna hit some bumps on the way. It gets really exciting for the next several records.
Ziggy Stardust, Aladdin Sane, Diamond Dogs, Station to Station, Low, Heroes. I mean, we're talking some really great, like classic Bowie albums. Scary Monsters.
Yeah.
Let's
By
Dance.
the way, we are not covering pinups, just so we're We're clear. We're putting that out there now. We are
I
not
think
doing a pinups episode.
no, we're yeah, that's a good point. We should mention that we're not doing a pinups episode. Maybe we can briefly brush over it on the Aladdin Sane episode or something.
Yeah, we could do that.
But we're not gonna heavily cover pinups. I might listen to it like once. I don't think I've ever really listened to pinups, to be honest.
You're not missing out. It's fine. You're not missing out. I think it should also be worth mentioning, and I didn't discuss this with you off mic, but I think it's also we should make it a point for when we do Ziggy Stardust to talk a little bit about live at Santa Monica, as well
Okay.
as the Ziggy Stardust movie as well.
Which I have never seen, so that maybe I should do some homework and actually see the movie.
Yes, so to be honest with you, being the hardcore Bowie fan I am, I only saw the Ziggy Stardust movie about a year ago, so
Oh, okay.
it's all right.
I also really, really want to see The Man Who Fell to Earth, which was around this time too, wasn't it?
Yes, it
Or was
was.
it a little later?
Yep.
When was that? I'm just gonna Man Who Fell to Earth. Sorry, we're like really getting off on a tangent here.
Actually, no, that would be. I'm sorry, man. That would be.
76.
I was just about to say 76 because the album cover of Station to Station is from that movie,
I'm gonna have to definitely see Man Who Fell to Earth
as well
because
as Low, actually.
yeah, yep,
Yeah. So yeah, that's mid 70s. You're right.
cool.
But oh boy, wow, did we just throw a lot of foreshadowing out there?
Yeah, no kidding. So you guys got some so a nice little preview of what's to come
Definitely.
on the Sound of Music podcast.
Music. But I think we need to call it because we
hmm
again two back-to-back episodes. I'm exhausted. I'm
Same
sure
here.
you are too. But this was fun. We again it gets exciting for the next several records, guys. So definitely stay tuned. Again, YouTube, Sound of Music. Like, subscribe. Check
Yep.
us out on
Check us out
Anchor.
on Anchor, and we have yet, as of the last episode, we still we aren't on the other platforms yet, but keep an eye out. I'll have everything linked to the YouTube page soon. So,
But until next time, Ziggy Stardust.
yeah, Ziggy
Ziggy
Stardust. I can't
Stardust.
wait. Bye, guys.
Bye
Peace.
bye.